3 ways 5 sensories test 6 sensories. If you want a relationship with the 5 sensory as a 6 sensory, you need to be aware of the 3 tests the 5 sensory will put you through to see if you are a good match with them or not. And some of it comes from their own agendas. And we have to be aware of what those agendas are in order to engage in happy, healthy relationships with them. The first test that 5 sensories engage 6 sensories in when they're getting to know them is they want to test to see how good is our self-esteem and confidence. They want to see if we can walk our talk and if we actually believe the things that we say when we're sensitive and empathetic. That could mean that we have a particular spiritual belief. It could be that we're really into our religion, or we believe in guides and angels. Those are the most common types of 6 sensory empathetic people, but there are other groups on the fringes of that who are just awakening to their abilities, who also fall under this category and have similar challenges in their relationships. So the way 5 sensories test us is they want to see if we're authentic. Many 5 sensories don't believe in religion or any kind of spiritual system strongly because they live primarily from logic. And so they find us unfamiliar when they run into somebody like us who has a particular belief system, and they want to test us to see how confident we actually are in our belief system. And so they'll find little ways to challenge our belief system or ask questions. And that's not a bad thing for us as 6 sensories. You might think, oh, that's so bad. They're being so negative and so hard on me and testing my spiritual connection with the universe. It's actually not a bad thing for them to do that, because that helps them see that we have an authentic relationship with the universe, which may be unfamiliar to them. But it's also good for us because we do need some testing sometimes to make sure that we're still having a good connection with the universe and that we're having a productive relationship where we have genuine faith. If we didn't get challenged once in a while, if we didn't have any suffering in our lives, we wouldn't really know if we had faith or not, because our life would always be good. And so when 5 sensories challenge us in this way and see how strong our self-esteem is, or how strong our belief in our connection with the universe is, it's not a bad thing. Let them test. Let them see how confident you are. Because when you show that authenticity and that confidence, that's going to be attractive to them. Even though they may not recognize it, they may not be familiar with it, but they will be respectful because they'll understand that you are genuine in your belief system and that you walk your talk, even if they don't agree with you. It's possible for people with opposite belief systems to actually get along. However, for them to respect you, you have to show that you are strong in your faith. And if you can't show them that, if you're not genuinely strong in your faith, it may not be the right time for you as a 6 sensory to engage in a relationship with a 5 sensory. You may need to take some time alone to work on that spiritual connection with the universe if you don't genuinely feel it at the moment. And we all have moments like that. We all have dark times of the soul where we lose a little bit of faith, and usually we come out of them stronger. So if you're in one of those dark periods, that's okay. But this is not the time probably to go into a relationship with a 5 sensory who will potentially challenge you and see how strong your faith is. It might actually make your relationship with the universe a bit worse. So don't engage in that until you're 100% ready to face 5 sensories and their kind of thinking and their kind of logic and skepticism. The next test that 5 sensories engage to see if you're a good fit for them and see if you can be in a relationship together is they will challenge the way that you engage in your relationships. And they'll do this in kind of a subtle and negative way. So I call it games. It's kind of like relationship games where they will try to make you jealous. They will send you a fake text to see if you're going to respond in a way that's angry or threatening, or they may try to see how available you are and see if they can get you to come out at the last minute. Whatever those games are, and there are many of them, the important thing is don't get angry when they're playing games. This is normal for a 5 sensory to engage in relationship games of sorts. And so as a 6 sensory, what you want to do is be aware of those games and be calm when you face them. All 5 sensories are going to test you a little bit with these games. If the testing is excessive and they play too many games, then that's a red flag and you probably shouldn't engage with that 5 sensory. Having said that, they're going to play some. Like, it's just when you meet new people, they're all going to play some games because everybody's going to try to get their needs met in a certain way. And people have read things on the internet, or they've watched videos and try to figure things out. And so they test their strategies to see if it's going to work on you as a sixth sensory. As long as you're aware of this and you stay calm and you don't react, you will pass this test with flying colors. It won't be a big problem for you. Knowledge is power here, and once you know about different games that five sensories can play, then you're not going to be threatened by them at all. You'll just know to be calm. And yes, new games do come up. The key is, if something a five sensory is doing is making you uncomfortable or jealous or insecure, just be aware that it's probably a game, regardless of whatever the game is, and stay calm. That's how you win. So it's very simple. As long as you do that, you'll pass this test easily. It's your self-esteem and your connection with the universe that I would say the first category is a little bit more challenging for us as a sixth sensory, because we all go through hard times. We might see a war breaking out in the world, or we might see something terrible happen to our friends and family. And that's the one I think that's a little bit more hard work, is to keep our faith and stay connected with the universe and stay authentic. If we're able to do that one, and then we learn the games on top of that, then the games are super easy. But if you only know about the games and you don't have a strong connection with the universe, you don't feel that confident that God has your back, then you're probably gonna not do so well. You're probably gonna feel insecure dealing with five sensories sooner or later. So that's the big one you have to make sure you have taken care of. And then the last priority, and this is sort of like a game, but this is sort of a genuine concern that five sensories have as well, is they're going to check your agenda as a sixth sensory. Are you going to try to convert them to your way of life? Are you going to try to suck them into a committed relationship too early? Are you going to accept bad behavior in the short term? And this is where you have to have really good boundaries as a sixth sensory. Don't accept bad behavior. And you also want to make sure you're not engaging in bad behavior yourself. You might think, oh, all five sensories are the same. They're just trying to engage in some kind of physical hookup or whatever they're trying to do. But be aware that if you have an agenda as a sixth sensory that you want to get married so badly that you're willing to do anything to get it, when you get into that kind of mind frame, that's almost as bad as a hookup. And people will be like, well, my religion says that it's the right thing. And it's not if it's not the right person. You always have to be checking people out. Marriage is not that great of an institution if you get into it with the wrong person. So you never want to come at commitment in any kind of desperate way or in any kind of rush. It doesn't matter how old you are, if you can't have children in a few years, never, ever, ever run into any kind of committed relationship too fast. Five sensories are a little bit correct on that one. Not that we should all be hooking up by any means, but we all do need to be discerning and be careful with our serious relationships long term, and make sure if we're going to engage in them that we're going to pick the right person, because it creates a lot of financial stress and emotional stress if we pick the wrong person. And so we have to be discerning in what we share in terms of our dreams of committed relationships. It's better to keep that to yourself and just monitor five sensories carefully to see if they're the right fit for you. And don't even worry about the goal of a long-term relationship. Just make it your goal short-term to get to know new people and find nice people. And if five sensories are good, nice people, they will eventually give you a commitment if you pass their tests and you behave well. If they're not nice people, then they won't offer that commitment and they'll probably fall away from your life. So as a sixth sensory, in that case, all you really need to do is just make sure you don't get too emotionally involved or intimate with those people who will eventually fall away, which sounds easier than it actually is, because five sensories have a lot of games and tricks up their sleeves. Not to be scared. Don't be scared about that. Even if you make a mistake, who cares? It's just a mistake. You just learn and you try to do better next time. But be discerning and protect your spiritual belief system. I'd say that is more important to protect than even your physical body or your intimacy, but that's also very important because your spiritual belief system resides in a house that is your body, so both are very important. Having said that, it's all okay Mistakes are okay if you make them. Just try not to do it a lot and try to have good judgment with people who are going to stay in your life, and be aware of the tests that those 5 sensory people are going to throw at you, and make sure you pass them with flying colors.